Michelle Today's video is going to be something that I've thought of doing for quite a while. This is going to be part one of a two-part kind of mini series for you. So I'm going to be talking about ASMR. Now, a lot of you know that I create ASMR content. I have the channel Sophie Michelle ASMR. So today's video is going to be me talking about what ASMR is, how I would explain ASMR and what I think about ASMR and the ASMR community, because there has been a lot of drama recently, especially non-ASMR creators talking about ASMR creators, and it's kind of, when there's a lack of understanding, I don't think people necessarily get it right. So we're going to be talking about that, and then the next video, which should be out in 3 days, depending on how I get my editing sorted, I will then be talking about how I became an ASMR YouTuber and giving you a few tips on how you can become an ASMR YouTuber. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on to it. So ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and it's kind of this tingling sensation that people feel when they feel really relaxed. So usually it starts at the top of the head, goes down the spine, shoulders, arms, legs, wherever. I actually get ASMR in my right side. That's where my ASMR tingles come from. But ASMR can also be used for sleep. It can be used for relaxation, help with anxiety, depression, insomnia. So basically ASMR videos can be a variety of different things. They can be trigger specific videos, and an ASMR trigger is a type of sound or a visual stimulus that creates ASMR or creates this relaxation state. So for example, a trigger could be tapping or finger fluttering, or it could be whispering like this, or a visual trigger could be hand movements, or I could have a light and I could shine the light in your face. All these different types of triggers. And then we have role plays as well. So role plays take these specific ASMR triggers and we create a role play scenario using these triggers. So role play scenarios can be medical role plays, they can be customer service role plays. So if you're checking in at a hotel, they can also be pretending to be your mother or your sister or your dad if it's a male ASMR artist. So anything that has this one-to-one personal connection or a small group of people interacting with each other, so teacher role plays for example. Anything with that one-to-one personal attention, close up, being caring. There's this overall caring nature of ASMR videos which really helps people to feel a closeness and a comfort. I always think that ASMR is a really good thing for people who feel lonely. I personally started watching ASMR when my brother was in hospital a lot. So my mum and dad used to go to hospital with him, and I was studying for my GCSE. So I was 15, 16 years old, and I was at home quite a bit on my own. So I didn't get that support, and it wasn't their fault or anything, but I didn't get that support, meaning that I was searching for it online, and that's how I came across ASMR. So I hope that helped with kind of explaining what ASMR is. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the community of ASMR. So in the media recently, I would say the past 2 years, ASMR has come up quite a lot in conversation. I was recently on BBC Radio 1 speaking about ASMR. Whispers Red, Emma, who is an amazing content creator in the UK, she was on This Morning on ITV about 6 months ago. ASMR has become really, really prolific in the media now. And whilst this is a great thing, this also comes with a lot of controversy. So as I just mentioned, Whispers Red Emma was on This Morning and she did an amazing job of explaining ASMR, but unfortunately ITV used the hashtag whisper porn. Now this brings up a lot of different issues. ASMR I don't think is sexual at all. But I must admit there is a sexual connotation and there is a community within the community that kind of exploits its audience. Now, of course, I can completely appreciate that everybody is entitled to watch and create whatever content that they like. However, when we use the brand and the title of ASMR, we're talking about something that helps you to relax and to sleep. Now, you could say that sexualization is a form of relaxation, and you're right. I think there's a big difference between relaxation and sexual stimulation. Now, it can be coming from the same source. So, for example, a close-up female who is being very kind to you may cause that sexual stimulation, and there's nothing wrong in that, but that's not what the content was created for. I would say about 0.05% of the ASMR content that is out there is intentionally very sexual. And there's a difference between the types of sexual nature that ASMR has got as well. So you have your bracket of completely non-sexual, non-intentional ASMR videos, and they are completely innocent in nature. Then you have, on the complete opposite end, you have the very, very sexually suggestive, deliberately trying to be very pornographic in content. And then you have this kind of blurred line in between where we use clickbait. And of course, everybody on YouTube has used clickbait at one time, whether they like to admit it or not. But then there becomes this blurred line where you question whether the clickbait is just for ASMR purposes or whether the clickbait is for sexual purposes. So an example of this would be a woman that has deliberately gotten her cleavage out on a thumbnail. So if I was bending, I can do this because I've got a jumper on. If I was bending like this at you and you could see my boobs hanging out, then that would be overtly sexual, and I would question the content creator's intentions with that video. There's also certain words and certain triggers that can be seen as sexualized. Now, there are triggers that are overtly sexual in nature, but some people still find that just through ASMR relaxation. So for example, there was a trend about a year ago now, it started to die down a little bit now, of the trigger of ear eating. So we have these microphones called 3DOs, and they have little rubber ears, and I have one myself, but I don't really use it that often, if I'm honest with you. But regardless, this microphone creates a binaural sound. So it means that the left ear would pick up left sound, the right ear would pick up right sound, and it almost sounds like it's your ears. It sounds very, very realistic. And some ASMR content creators started creating ear licking and ear eating videos. Now this is where you would literally eat and suck and lick and nibble the silicone ears on this microphone. Now you can imagine the types of people that would entice to watch your video. Now, a lot of people do genuinely just find that relaxing, but it's the question of when the content becomes relaxing and then when it becomes sexual. So for example, I would suggest that if someone was creating content that was of that nature, where it had a lot of mouth sounds or it was very, very intimate and very close, I would be selective about what you would wear within that video, just so you're not deliberately sending out the wrong message. Even if it's not deliberate, I would just take those countermeasures just to make sure that you are not leaving yourself vulnerable to the kind of hate or kind of sexual comments that you may not necessarily want to see on your channel. Now, I can fully appreciate that there is that subculture of sexual ASMR, and I am not in any way diminishing it or making it feel like it is not worthy, because of course it is, and a lot of people use that, and if that is their thing and that's what relaxes them or stimulates them, then that's great and you do you. But using the bracket term of ASMR and the fact that these videos are so clickbaity and of course they're shocking, which means that they get a lot of media attention, it means that the real original kind of thought process and intention of ASMR has been skewed a little bit. And I can tell you this, every single interview I have ever done about ASMR, everyone has always asked, is it sexual? And what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? There is never just a positive light. There's always that sexual undertone, and it is frustrating as a content creator like me who doesn't create sexual content whatsoever. I actually created one video that I feel very uncomfortable about the fact that it's online. It was a girlfriend video that I did for Valentine's Day last year, and whilst there was no sexual nature within that video, just the suggestiveness of that video made me feel very uncomfortable, and it's something that I'm considering even taking down because it's just not what I want to promote on my channel. But anyway, we've talked about the sexual nature of ASMR now. Let's talk about children on ASMR. Now, this is something that is very, very new, and a lot of people have got some very strong opinions about it. Now, before I want to talk about this topic, I just quickly want to explain to you my audience demographic, just so you can understand the type of people that are watching ASMR. So it's very, very different for every different content creator, but me personally, my male to female split is that I've got 55% female viewers and 45% male viewers. Now, this was a lot different when I started ASMR. When I started, it was about 80% male and 20% female. So you can imagine when you very first start ASMR content, it's mostly men giving requests. And of course, you can get those people that do request certain types of videos. Now, in terms of age bracket, my age range tends to go from 18 to 34. Now, that's kind of around my age, so it kind of makes sense. But I still have a lot of viewers that are younger and a lot of viewers that are older as well. Now, I wanted to share with you my demographic because when talking about a child making ASMR content, it's very, very important to understand who is their audience demographic, who is watching their videos. Is it mostly men? Is it mostly female? Is it mostly older people? Is it mostly people around their age? Now, there has been many child ASMR creators, and there's quite a few that I've watched in the past, and I tend to think that child ASMR tends to be brilliant. They have such a innocent nature about themselves that everything is so calm and just so attentive, and they're very, very delicate, and it's very sweet to watch. It's very endearing. But there are some styles of ASMR content that I don't know necessarily whether they are appropriate. So, for example, I would question some sort of medical or teacher role play styles, anything where they're very, very close up, any mouth sounds or anything of that kind of nature. I would also question what they're wearing in the videos. Just with anybody else, I would always question, what are you wearing in your videos? Why are you wearing that? Is there a reason for it? Of course, you can wear whatever you want. It's your own body. You can put whatever clothes you want on your body, but you've always got to take that precaution and be aware of what you're putting on your body, so that if you do get that kind of response that you don't want, you need to at least be aware that, okay, I made that decision and therefore this is the repercussion of it. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So of course, when talking about children doing ASMR, of course I have to mention Life with Mac. Now, I think that Life with Mac is a brilliant channel. I think she is so sassy, she's got so much charisma, and I think she was born to act and to be in front of the camera. Now, there are some videos that I wouldn't necessarily say are the most appropriate thing to do. So, for example, there was a police roleplay that is a little bit questionable, especially with what she's wearing, the types of comments that she's making. But of course, we know what it's like to be a teenager, we know what it's like to be a child, and we create this fantasy in our head, and we come up with things, and we think we're being clever, or we're making fun of things, or we're trying to be interesting and quirky, and that is all that she's doing, I'm sure. I don't think her intention is ever to be clickbaity or to overtly sexualize herself. I mean, she's a 13-year-old girl, and I think she's very, very, very talented at what she does. So I would suggest to anybody that is making ASMR who's a little bit younger, I would say always make sure that you would want your parents to watch your videos. And I would say that with anybody, actually. If you feel that it's okay for your mum and dad to watch your videos, or any of your family, any of your friends, if you would feel very uncomfortable with your family member seeing a certain piece of skin or you acting in a certain way, then I would probably say that that's an indicator that it's probably not the right kind of content to do. So basically, I hope that I've been quite clear with this video. I just wanted to give my opinion on what ASMR is and kind of how sexualization and child ASMR has become such a big thing in the media at the moment, and kind of my opinion on it. I don't think it's necessarily something that we should try and stamp out, but at the same time I think we should all acknowledge that it exists and try and take the appropriate measures to keep everybody on the internet safe. That is the most important thing. So yes, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to make the second part. I'm actually going to make it right now. I've got all of your questions on my phone, and I'm going to answer them all for you. So please make sure to check that video out. It's probably going to be up in 2 or 3 days, let's see. So yes, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like if you haven't already. I'm trying to make videos every week now. I'm so bad with it. I've just been so stressed with uni and with my ASMR channel that I've just kind of forgotten about this world of Sincerely Sophie, but I promise you I'm going to get back into it. I'm also going to start weekly vlogging as well, and I've got my Disney vlogs that are still going up every Sunday. Fingers crossed. I think I've got my kind of groove back with that. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. All my love, Sincerely Sophie.